Hey, Alaopa friends, welcome back to part 2 of the March 1st, 2017 letter from the House of Justice on economic life. Our call to examine the implications of the revelation of Baha'u'llah for economic life is intended to reach Baha'i institutions and communities, but is directed more especially to the individual believer. If a new model of community life patterned on the teachings is to emerge, must not the company of the faithful demonstrate in their own lives the rectitude of conduct that is one of its most distinguishing features? Every choice a Baha'i makes as employee or employer, producer or consumer, borrower or lender, benefactor or beneficiary leaves a trace, and the moral duty to lead a coherent life demands that one's economic decisions be in accordance with lofty ideals, that the purity of one's aims be matched by the purity of one's actions to fulfill those aims, that our actions be aligned with our aims. Naturally, the friends habitually look to the teachings to set the standard to which to aspire. But the community's deepening engagement with society means that the economic dimension of social existence must receive ever more concentrated attention, particularly in clusters where the community building process is beginning to embrace large numbers. The exhortations contained in the Baha'i writing should increasingly inform economic relationships within families, neighborhoods, and peoples. Not content with whatever values prevail in the existing order that surrounds them, the friends everywhere should consider the application of the teachings to their lives, and using the opportunities their circumstances offer them, make their own individual and collective contributions to economic justice and social progress wherever they reside. Using the opportunities their circumstances offer them, make their own individual and collective contributions to economic justice and social progress wherever they reside. Such efforts will add to a growing storehouse of knowledge in this regard. A foundational concept to explore in this context is the spiritual reality of man. In the revelation of Baha'u'llah, the nobility inherent to every human being is unequivocally asserted. It is a fundamental tenet of Baha'i belief upon which hope for the future of humankind is built. The soul's capacity to manifest all the names and attributes of God, He who is the compassionate, the bestower, the bountiful, is repeatedly affirmed in the writings. Economic life is an arena for the expression of honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, generosity, and other qualities of the spirit. The individual is not merely a self-interested economic unit striving to claim an ever greater share of the world's material resources. Man's merit lieth in service and virtue, Baha'u'llah avers, and not in the pageantry of wealth and riches. And further, dissipate not the wealth of your precious lives in the pursuit of evil and corrupt affection, nor let your endeavors be spent in promoting your personal interest. By consecrating oneself to the service of others, one finds meaning and purpose in life and contributes to the upliftment of society itself. By what? Consecrating oneself to the service of others, one finds meaning and purpose and contributes to society. At the outset of his celebrated treatise, The Secret of Divine Civilization, Abdu'l-Baha states, and the honor and distinction of the individual consists in this, that he among all the world's multitude should become a source of social good. Is any larger bounty conceivable than this, that an individual looking within himself should find that by the confirming grace of God, he has become the cause of peace and well-being, of happiness and advantage to his fellow men? No, by the one true God, there is no greater bliss, no more complete delight. Viewed in this light, many seemingly ordinary economic activities gain new significance because of their potential to add to human welfare and prosperity. Every person must have an occupation, a trade, or a craft, explains the master, so that he may carry other people's burdens and not himself be a burden to others. The poor are urged by Baha'u'llah to exert themselves and strive to earn the means of livelihood, while they who are possessed of riches must have the utmost regard for the poor. Wealth, Abdu'l-Baha has affirmed, is praiseworthy in the highest degree if it is acquired by an individual's own efforts and the grace of God in commerce, agriculture, art, and industry, and if it be expended for philanthropic purposes. At the same time, the Hidden Words is replete with warnings of its perilous allure, that wealth is a mighty barrier between the believer and the proper object of his adoration. No wonder then that Baha'u'llah extols the station of the wealthy one who is not himself, is not hindered by riches from attaining the eternal kingdom. The splendor of such a soul shall illuminate the dwellers of heaven, even as the sun enlightens the people of the earth. Abdu'l-Baha declares that if a judicious and resourceful individual should initiate measures which would universally enrich the masses of the people, there could be no undertaking greater than this. And it would rank in the sight of God as a supreme achievement. If a judicious and resourceful individual should initiate measures that would universally enrich the masses of the people. Think about that. For wealth is most commendable, provided the entire population is wealthy. Examining one's life to determine what is necessary and then discharging with joy one's obligation in relation to the law of huququllah is an indispensable discipline to bring one's priorities into balance, purify whatever wealth one possesses, and ensure that the share which is the right of God provides for the greater good. At all times, contentment and moderation, benevolence and fellow feeling, sacrifice and reliance on the Almighty are qualities that befit the God-fearing soul. Dear friends, I'm going to cut this video and move to part 3.